The last day of March in the year 1999, we're some 1,500 miles from New York City, and T.S. Monk, it is good to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here, man. It's this has been fun.
Well, once again, you're perpetuating and expanding on a legend, but more than anything else, you're doing some fascinating things with new compositions and composers other than that spirit who was your father.
Yeah. Well, my focus has been just great music. I've been trying to play great music for like 7 years now with this band, and I mean that's like the bottom line for me. And Thelonious is one of the greatest, but he would be the first to tell you that, man, there's a lot of great writers, you know. So, I rely, a great deal on his friends, people like Walter Davis and Kenny Durham and Clifford Jordan and all the cats that he felt that were great, were great writers. And that, if you get into their music, a lot of their music has been forgotten. A lot of it was missed at the time. A lot of the music, even like Thelonious's music, came along at a time when nobody was particularly listening to the composers. They were very player oriented, and so Coltrane and Miles and Dizzy and individual players were focused on, but the writers, particularly in the modern era, who really moved the music to the next level, was sort of ignored to a certain degree. And so I like picking on their music because it's a lot of fun, and a great deal of it is new to the new generation of musicians. They say, "Oh, that's a new tune." Say, "No, that was recorded 45 years ago." So it's a lot of fun, and the music it keeps you on your toes. It keeps the energy level high because you can't sleep on any of these charts. And when you combine that with an absolutely great band, it becomes just a joy. So that's why I start out by saying, I'm having fun all the time. It's just fun. It's just a ball. I'm having a ball every second on the bandstand.
T.S. Monk, among those compositions and performances, you selected material from the catalog of Bobby Watson, who went to school in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and of course his teachers were Jimmy Hamilton, the pianist here, and who turned him on and got him started in the right direction.
Well, he's real special. I had the pleasure of touring with him most of the last year. He toured with us with Monk on Monk. And Bobby he's tremendous. Come on, he's a tremendous writer, tremendous arranger, fantastic band leader, virtuoso player. He's one of those quadruple threat guys, and so to be able to have any association with him is really, it's great fortune for any of us musicians. But to have been able to record, a couple of his tunes over the years is really a gas, because he's really fantastic. And sometimes we focus so much. We're sort of making up for lost time with guys like Monk and Ellington and all these, and a lot of the writers that we didn't pay attention to. But there are some new young writers, and I've been recording their tunes too, along with Bobby Watson. There's Donald Brown, there's James Williams, these people. And so I look to them as the new, vanguard for writers. And I got some James Williams and some Donald Brown on my new CD too. So all of those cats that are in it's in a funny way, it's a forgotten generation. There's been a lot of focus on the so-called young lions, and a lot of focus on a lot of our older giants, but there hasn't been a lot of focus on the guys that are really playing the very, very best and writing the very, very best right now, which are the guys that are in their prime, who are in their late 30s, 40s, early 50s, and Bobby Watson is one of those guys. I'm one of the few guys in that age group that's getting any daylight, as an individual artist. Most of us, all of my band are, basically guys in that age group, and that's why everybody's playing so well, because, with this music, you don't start hitting it until you're 35, and if you're lucky, you'll hit your full stride when you're 50, so it's a joy to play this music with these particular players, because they frankly play the hell out of it, and it keeps us all in very, very good shape. It's like playing every night in the NBA, when you play every night, you're game ready all the time. And so that's the way it is.
Here it is, the last vestiges of March 31st, 1999, fading away, and we're speeding down to the turn of the century. How do you see your career and this whole field developing?
Well, for my career, I started this band in 1991, and this is 1999. The decade of the 90s, the last decade of this century has been absolutely fabulous for me because I've done things and have been places and have played things that I never dreamed I'd play or have been or would have ever done. So it's been fantastic for me. For the music in general, I think the music is very, very healthy. For instance, I just came here from a 2-week visiting artist engagement in Quad Cities, and I did 36 clinics in 12 days, 36 one-hour clinics in 12 days. And I mean, that was like deep. But what it told me was, I mean, this was all high school. I must have seen about 15,000 high school and elementary school kids. And almost every school I went to had a jazz band. And what this tells me is that the state of jazz going into the next century is very, very healthy because the kids have locked in again. And the kids haven't locked into jazz since the 1940s and early 50s was the last time young kids locked into jazz. And they are all us today. All of us that are in our 40s and 50s and playing the music were kids and locked in as kids. And then it just got detached from children. I mean, you had a great jazz listening audience, but it got detached from children for about 25 years, really until Winton showed up. But in the last half of this decade, man, the kids have locked back in. And once the kids are locked in, man, the future is bright. So I feel like it's going to be spectacular. Everybody's talking about where's the next Bird, where's the next Coltrane, where's the next month. They're all out there right now as we speak, developing in some high school, in some elementary school somewhere, some college, right as we speak. I think the future of jazz is very, very healthy. And as soon as we get back into super creative mode, which is where we're getting ready to move, now that everybody's back in sort of in the thick of it, now we're going to move to the next phase, which is everybody's going to start really doing their own thing again. And I think we're going to have a second, jazz is very young. Jazz is very, very young. It's only about 75, 80 years old, right? It's had one truly golden era, where you had just this tremendous, enormous amount of genius all concentrated in a place like New York at one time. And it spoiled all of us. It spoiled you. It spoiled me. We thought it was going to go on forever, but it didn't. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen again. And I think if the music is healthy, it's going to happen again because jazz is about the human spirit. It's inspirational in its essence. And whenever you have something like that, things happen. So I think the stage is set finally again for things to happen.
T.S. Monk, thanks very much. After hours here, we're about 1,500 miles from that mecca called New York City. And it's just been a pleasure to meet and talk and sit in with you again and hear your message.
You take good care.